Hello, everyone. JDev, creator of the JDev Entertainment Network, has returned once again to give you precisely what you want, which of course would be more of me because I'm still in such high demand and quite frankly I'm all you're going to need, especially with this coronavirus pandemic. Here to bring you guys some UFC news and talk about the recent UFC matchups and cards that we've had. Before I do that, though, it's very important if you're a fan of the UFC and you like what I'm doing, go ahead and smash that like button, share this video to everybody you know, leave me a comment with your thoughts on what I'm talking about, any future UFC fights that you want to see, favorite fighters, favorite fights, that kind of stuff. And last but certainly not least, go ahead and hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your support. Any of these things that you do are greatly appreciated. Even if you just do one of those things, it still helps out the channel. So, we just got off a week and a half where we saw 3 UFC events. We had the fight night on the 9th of May, and then the following Wednesday we had UFC 249 on May 9th, and then we had a fight night on the following Wednesday and the following Saturday. We saw the annihilation of Tony Ferguson by Justin Gaethje. We saw Glover Teixeira show Anthony Smith and the rest of the world that he still has some gas left in the tank. And then we saw Walt Harris try, but come up a little short against Alistair Overeem. But what an awesome moment to have the UFC back in business and have 3 fight cards. Even if you had to pay money to see them, they were still entertaining. Each fight card I actually think delivered, even with some of the cards not having, obviously, the stack card like UFC 249 had. But I was just super excited to see all those fights. Obviously, the talk still is, why didn't the referee stop the Anthony Smith fight? Well, Anthony Smith was still technically, intelligently defending himself just enough. And his corner should have thrown in the towel at some point, though, but they didn't. And then, of course, you had Walt Harris take on Alistair Overeem. I don't know why Overeem does have a weak chin, it seems like, because he's been knocked out a lot. But he seems to win here and there and lose to, like, the big strikers. But he got rocked early, but persevered, ended up winning the fight. And you didn't want him to win because you wanted Walt Harris to win due to what happened to his stepdaughter. But in a very awesome show of class after Dan Miragliotta stopped the fight, Alistair Overeem puts his hand on Walt Harris' back and like pats his back and talks to him a little bit. And I think that was a good moment. It was touching. You know, he understands what Walt Harris was going through, and it was just a touching moment. I think both fighters actually won in the long run. Obviously, Walt Harris didn't win the fight, but he'll come back stronger. And maybe now that he got one fight away, or one fight out of the way, maybe it'll be a little bit easier. Probably not, but I think that first fight would be the toughest one. And it was a touching moment. I think Overeem really did show a lot of class there, and I hope Overeem can get back to title contention if he can. I would love to see him and Derek Lewis go at it. I don't think that's a fight we've seen yet. That would be a good fight for both fighters. So I don't know, Dana, if you're listening to this, which I know you are because you love my channel, go ahead and book that fight for Fight Island. Do it now. And then other big news that we heard about. It may happen that John Jones will go to heavyweight and fight Francis Ngannou. I'm thinking that would probably be the main event in the fight on the July pay-per-view. Assuming it happens, it's not been confirmed by any means, but I think John wants a big money fight because all these guys he's fought recently, the Anthony Smiths, the Thiago Santos, even Dominic Reyes, they weren't big money fights. Francis Ngannou is a huge fight. That's going to do massive numbers. And it's like, you think Jones will win because Jones has such an incredibly high fight IQ, but it's Francis Ngannou. And he could knock Jones's lights out with one punch. Or could he? We all know that John Jones has a legendary chin. So we'll see what happens, but I would love to see that fight. I'm a little skeptical of John Jones going to heavyweight. I think he makes weight too easily at light heavyweight to go to heavyweight. But if that's what he wants to do, then do it. Do it. Dominate the heavyweight division. And I really want to see a fight between him and Anthony Rumble Johnson at some point, some year. Please give it to us while both fighters are still in their prime. I don't know if Rumble has entered the USADA testing. I don't even think USADA's testing right now. I don't even know. But Rumble needs to get in that testing program, at least so he can be eligible after 4 months. I'm not sure if he's even done that yet. But Rumble City's coming back. But that would be a crazy fight. Can you imagine John Jones versus Francis Ngannou? And then if they have that fight, I'm guessing that they would put the interim UFC heavyweight title on the line or strip Stipe. No, they probably wouldn't strip Stipe. They would just make it for an interim belt. But that would be a crazy fight. And I would love to see that. And then, hey, you never know. Maybe John Jones and DC fight again. Probably not. But I think it's certainly something to speculate. And I'm really excited to hear about it. So that's kind of the big stuff coming away from the UFC right now. Obviously, we haven't got a lot of fights scheduled because they're waiting till after tomorrow. They want to get past all these events. I mean, we have the main event or the co-main event for UFC 250, which may or may not take place on July 6th. Might be a little later. Amanda Nunes and Felicia Spencer. And then Cody Garbrandt's fighting on that card too. But we don't have a main event yet, so I'm not sure what that'll be. Maybe it'll be Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington, or maybe it's Conor McGregor and Jorge Masvidal. I don't even know. None of those fights have been scheduled yet, and apparently Dana hasn't even talked opponents yet. So he says. So, wow, what a week! UFC's back. I think they did a really good job with all the crap that's going on. I mean, obviously things could have been improved a bit, but I think for what they had to deal with, they did the best job they could, and obviously things will get better. And I'm looking forward to seeing more and more UFC events, because for the other sports, it's going to be a lot harder to establish ground rules and get them up and running. But anyway, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about a Francis Ngannou John Jones fight for I would guess an interim heavyweight title. That's something certainly to talk about. And let me know what your thoughts are. You know, coming out of the big UFC 3 events in whatever, how many days, 8 days thing, let me know what you thought of each event and maybe score it. I mean, UFC 249 is an A because it was such a stacked card and it delivered. And then the fight night cards were actually highly entertaining, surprisingly. Or there was just nothing else to do and I really liked them. So leave your thoughts. You know what I thought? I want to hear what you think. And of course, JDev will return.